There we go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Karen Harbaugh, and on behalf of the board of Southwest Colorado Concerts, a program of Onward, we're thrilled that you could join us here tonight for this bonus concert of our 70th season, your 70th season. Southwest Colorado Concerts is a nonprofit, all-volunteer organization that brings a variety of world-class music performances to your local stage at a reasonable price. And we're really pleased that in addition to the world travel acts that we are being treated to this season, we can also bring our hometown to our hometown. The high school has a very busy schedule, and the band has been working on this program, but it all just came together to make this evening possible here and now. The band is really thrilled to be here, I know, and we're glad to see you here. We want to thank our business sponsors who make the Southwest Colorado Concert season possible. Platinum sponsors Montezuma Hearing and Cortez Retail Enhancement Association. Gold sponsors Major Mortgage, First National Bank, Bravo Cleaning and Restoration, and Dolores State Bank. And there are a host of other sponsors listed in your program tonight and on the wall over here. So thank you so much to those businesses for making these performances possible. And a grant from the Lohr Foundation has also supported the band in doing this program tonight. And the Lohr Foundation has been an important support for SWCC also in this 70th season. So thank you very much to that generous family foundation. As always, thanks to MCHS, especially to Mr. Nicholas Sander and his student team of technicians in the back. After tonight, we have one more concert in this landmark season. The Orchid Quartet, a string quartet based out of Los Angeles, takes the stage here on April 8th. That's just 2 weeks away. We definitely hope to see you then. If you're not familiar yet with this concert season, I urge you to get a ticket and come see what the excitement is all about. We do have a new website up. It's the same old address, but we really encourage you to buy tickets there. You do have to set up a new login, even if you were a former user. So I apologize for that, but it's part of us trying to update our technology and to stay in touch with you all. And also season tickets for the next season, the 25-26 season, will be available for sale when you go into the website there. Community band is such a wonderful opportunity to create something positive with your neighbors. You might be a person who's continued your music study beyond school your whole life, or someone who's picking up your instrument again after years, in some cases, decades. We won't name any names, Dave, but when you join community band, you might be sitting next to someone who speaks Canadian and has had an illustrious career in the music business. You might be sitting next to a history teacher or a retired nurse. You might be sitting next to someone who has to leave rehearsal to go deliver a baby. You know, we just don't get why the babies don't respect our rehearsal schedule. Anyway, you might be a freshman in high school and end up sitting next to the high school principal. Just saying, it could happen. You might be an excellent high school musician, a senior, and end up sitting near your dad. You might be the director's spouse and get assigned to play percussion, and you've never played percussion before. In any case, you will be connected in a special way to people from different backgrounds, from different points of view, from different generations. And you will make music together. This is the unique power of music, right? To bring us together. So let's hear it for Community Band. As you will hear, there have been many directors involved in the development of this band. And if you're a current member, the bonus is that you also get adopted into Karen and Keith Steele's family. Pretty cool. We will not have an intermission tonight. Please do silence your cell phones, and if you need to leave the auditorium, do so between numbers. Okay, now I'm gonna go put my other hat or shirt, whatever, on. But first I want to introduce our MC for the rest of the concert. Dr. Amanda Mullen, amongst many other ways she utilizes her talent in our community, has helped out this band in different ways. Her husband is an equally talented guy, Dr. Jay Anderson, and he's with us here tonight also. So thanks so much to both of them for supporting our band the past couple of years. And please welcome Amanda.
Welcome to the Four Corners Community Band's annual spring concert, a concert of firsts. I'm Amanda Mullen, and I'll be your MC tonight. The band has worked very hard this season to put this music together for you. We are very thankful to be performing in this beautiful auditorium, thanks to the Southwest Colorado Concerts and the Lohr Foundation for that. The band currently has 30 members and is directed by Karen Steele. Please welcome the Four Corners Community Band. In our band's history files, the first printed program for a concert was on August 12, 2001. The first piece in that concert was Invicta by James Swearingen. This powerful and dramatic piece of music that was written by James Swearingen in 1981, it still proves to be a stunning opener for any performance. What a better way to begin tonight's performance than to go back to where it all began. piece ever written for our band was entitled Sandstone Annuals, composed by Jill Haley in 2014. She was an artist in residence at Mesa Verde National Park, living in the park for about 2 weeks. She spent time learning about the ancestral pueblos that lived there approximately 800 years ago, and wrote this as a tribute to the national park. The first performance included her playing the oboe with the band outdoors in the park during a rainstorm. It later went on to become the third movement in an orchestral work entitled National Park Suite No. 1. Our performance tonight includes a slideshow of the magnificent national park that's located in our own backyard. Please enjoy Sandstone Annuals. Before I introduce our next piece, I'm going to hand the microphone over to our director, Karen Steele.
Thank you, and thank you for coming out tonight to hear us play. We've been working on this music since the 1st of January, and it's gelling together so far really nicely tonight, so I'm very proud of this band. Karen wasn't wrong when she said the band is our family. Keith and I moved here about 3.5 years ago, didn't know a soul in town, and as a retired music teacher, I found it very odd to walk into Walmart and not know anyone. But I found the community band and I joined playing bass clarinet at the time. And then things evolved and I ended up being the director, which I love doing, but I still like playing the clarinet too. We have a small group of people that keep the business side things of the band going. Because if I had to do all of that and direct the music, it wouldn't be nearly the group that it is right now. Our steering committee, the president, Keith Steele, treasurer, Ann, thank you, Ann Street Jocelyn, the co-secretaries, Sue and Penny, the librarian, Catherine, and who did I forget? This is our steering committee. I want to thank again the Southwest Colorado Concerts and the Lohr Foundation for helping us make this possible tonight. Without their help, it wouldn't be happening. We'd be in a small church on the other end of town. That's very crowded for us and not nearly as comfortable for you. So we're happy to have that support. All right, we're moving on. Thank you so much for coming.
Our next first is in honor of the first female pilot that flew over the Atlantic Ocean. The legend of Amelia Earhart continues to capture the imaginations of aviators and historians worldwide. Her final flight, which began in the United States and crossed multiple continents, is the basis for this composition. Listen for Central and South American hints, as well as some Asian overtones in the percussion, as we tour the world. The journey ends not in tragedy, but in celebration, as the original flight theme returns, leading to a powerful conclusion. be part of a consortium for this piece, and as such, we have the right to present this tonight as a world premiere before it's even published. Talk about the ultimate first. Much of John Mackey's music is written at the advanced high school or college level. In this case, Cooper Middle School in Virginia led the consortium for him to create something that was more accessible to junior high level students. It's certainly on the upper end of that junior high spectrum, but it has been a lot of fun for the band to learn. It's definitely different than anything else you will hear tonight. As the title suggests, it can be a bit aggressive and is fairly unrelenting in its progression. Unlike some of the other music that was performed tonight, it doesn't have a fast, energetic section that gives away to slower lyrical melodies. This mechanism keeps chewing. We enjoyed learning it, and I hope you can enjoy listening to Teeth of the Mechanism. relax, maybe even hum along to our next piece. It's rather soothing after Teeth of the Mechanism. Piano Man, released in 1973, was the first great hit of the American singer and songwriter Billy Joel. What is special about this song is that it was written from two perspectives. that of the piano player, who sings about the lives of the diverse group of people that are in the nightclub where he works. Then the chorus is sung by the patrons, who encourage the piano man to sing more. The use of a harmonica is iconic during this song. So we welcome our special harmonica guest and my husband, Jay Anderson. The Four Corners Community Band would like to recognize past members who are in attendance tonight. We especially would like to thank the founding director, Mark Allen, who started the band 25 years ago. Would all of you alumni members in the audience please stand? And now, current members in the band, if you were here the first year the band started, please stand. Immediately after the concert, I'd like any alumni members to please join us on stage. We're going to do a picture with the whole band. And I'll remind you again at the end, okay? Thank you all. At this time, we're going to give the band a moment's rest and take a look back at the history of the band. This slideshow was created by our current historian, Ken Degner. Ken was a member of the band from 2003 to 2014 playing the trumpet. He went on to keep track of everything. We truly appreciate all the work that Ken does to keep an accurate record of our performances, membership, and many other aspects of the band's existence. Thank you, Ken.
Rico, Mancus, Dolores, and Cortez all had bands in years past. The Four Corners Community Band is proud to continue that musical history. In 1999, Mark Allen, a saxophone musician, came to Cortez as a music educator. Having directed a community band in Arizona, he wanted to start a community band in Cortez. An initial meeting was held in December 1999, where just 3 musicians showed up. At an early January 2000 practice, 7 musicians showed up and the band was begun. Practice sessions began at the Cortez Cultural Center, but soon moved to the First Baptist Church, where practices are still held on Monday evenings. Fast forward, and at the January 10, 2001 practice sign-in sheet, 26 folks were there to make some music. Performances were scheduled that year, and the band played for the graduation ceremony at San Juan Basin Vocational Technical School, a concert in the park, and a Christmas concert at the Vista Mesa Assisted Living Residence in Cortez. In 2010 saw the band's celebration of its first 10 years with a special concert in the park. Due to the COVID pandemic, no performances were given by the band in 2020, but the practices continued, socially distanced of course. Over the band's quarter-century history, the band has performed at school graduations, concerts in local parks, 4th of July parades, Mancus and Escalante days, joint concerts with Cortez, Mancus, and New Mexico school bands, concerts at local churches and nursing homes, concerts for special events, and for holiday and season festivals at local area businesses and venues. During the first quarter century, there have been 9 talented and dedicated band directors, without whose skills, energy, and passion, the band would have ceased to exist. Of course, who knows might show up as a guest director. Since the beginning of its 25-year history, band members have come from all across the Four Corners region, varying in ages from those in high school to those well past their high school years. Members have come from all types of occupations and musical abilities. from students to those with professional careers, folks who have played for years to those who haven't played an instrument in years. In 2003, an application was made for 501c3 nonprofit status with the IRS and was granted that in 2004. This has been a key financial factor as the band has applied for and received grants and other funding to allow for the purchase of music, such as you're hearing today, as well as instruments that can be used by musicians that do not have their own, and for the maintenance and storage of those assets, all key factors to the success and continuity of the band. Membership in the band has been and continues to be open to any individual with a desire to make music for the community and has high school level skill. Interested persons can contact the band through its Facebook and internet websites or contact any band member at a performance. The band's current mission statement is connecting generations through music, a continuation of its original reason to exist. With thanks to all those musicians who have contributed to the success of the Four Corners Community Band, to the band directors whose dedication inspired every musician, and to all the Four Corners communities who have supported and continue to support the band with donations and by attending its concerts. Special thanks to the many grant providers over the years.
The next piece, The Elephant and the Flea, was a novelty polka by German composer Ralph Maria Siegel, and later arranged and adapted by Eric Hoygeshoven as a duet for piccolo and tuba. We have substituted the baritone saxophone, played by Macy Smith, for the tuba part, and she'll be joined by Fawn Curtis on the piccolo. This duet brings to life our tagline, connecting generations through music, as Macy's a high school senior, playing side by side with Fawn, who is a long-term member and accomplished flautist for the band. This piece is great fun to play as well as to listen to. Please welcome Fawn and Macy. What is the name of the world's first national park? Guessed it, Yellowstone. Did y'all look at your programs? This park was signed into existence in 1872 by President Ulysses S. Grant. From the Old Faithful Geyser to the majestic peaks of the Rocky Mountains, Yellowstone gives visitors a fantastic way to experience the great outdoors. Evoking memories of one of America's most beautiful areas, this piece demonstrates the grandeur of the park through dynamic percussion and majestic brass fanfares. folk song is probably best known for its use in the movie Empire of the Sun. It's a simple and beautiful melody with strong and reassuring lyrics. Sleep, my baby, at my breast, 'tis a mother's arms round you. Make yourself a snug, warm nest, feel my love forever new. This arrangement was purchased and donated to the band in 2005. But although it has been practiced, it was never performed due to its complex, neat character. This will be the first actual performance of the Welsh lullaby, Sioga. Mars, the bringer of war, is the first movement of the planets.
I remembered the other thing I was going to say. I want to give a very big, heartfelt thank you to Amanda and Jay for participating with us tonight. This will be their last participation with us as they are relocating to Nebraska, and we are going to seriously miss them. But they have been such a joy to get to know and to work with. So thank you to Amanda and Jay. And one last thing, we do have some future performances coming up. On May 1st, we will be playing in the Mancus Opera House. Keith and I got to tour that opera house last week, and they have renovated it a lot. They're not done with it yet, but if you've ever been there and had to crawl up those weird little steps to get to the auditorium, no more. They've installed an elevator. And the auditorium is great. We're looking forward to playing. We are doing it in conjunction with a nonprofit fundraiser. And more details of that will come out on our Facebook page or on our website as well. So please watch for that. It will be on Thursday, May 1st. And then, of course, on the 4th of July, the town of Rico wouldn't be the same if we didn't go up and play in their parade and then give them a concert while the firemen are serving lunch. So on the 4th of July, we will be up in Mancos. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. We appreciate having such a large crowd. Huh? I said Rico. No, I said Rico. It's in Rico, the town of Rico.
John Philip Sousa is known as the March King. He wrote 136 marches in his career from 1873 to 1932. He was the conductor of the United States Marine Band from 1880 to 1892, and then went on to conduct a civilian band for 39 years. He wrote such iconic marches as Semper Fidelis, Washington Post, and of course, the Stars and Stripes Forever. Review is the first march that Sousa wrote in 1873. In later years, his opinion of the march was not too favorable. He wrote, "Happily for me and for the general public, it never became all that popular. And the echoes and strains have long ago died away." We will revive it tonight and conclude our concert with the recognizable sounds of John Philip Sousa. up for a picture. We hope you all enjoyed this concert, and thank you for coming out to our concert at First.